Hey, what is up everybody? CrazycolinPro here, and I'm here today to talk about my personal top 5 megas in the OU metagame right now in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, at the beginning of this generation, people thought the megas were going to take a back burner, as Z-moves were the new hip thing that everyone was running, but now that the meta's evolved, people have seen that you can run both megas and Z-moves, one or the other, or neither, and still have a relatively viable team. Now, with the introduction of new Pokemon, as always, the meta has changed, meaning that new megas have become more viable, and some old ones have gotten less viable. Let's start with number 5, Mega Sableye. Now, Mega Sableye has been good since it came out. It was kind of overpowered at the end of that ORAS meta when everything got pretty stally. Magic Bounce has always been handy, and the pre-Mega ability Prankster is of course very useful, although not as useful this generation as it was last generation. Still pretty good. Now, the reason that Sableye is such a monster is, of course, its defense stats and its recovering ability. It can Will-O-Wisp you, it can basically do whatever it wants. You can't Toxic it or burn it because of the Magic Bounce. There's a lot of upsides to this Mega. When it comes to just viability, there aren't a lot of Pokemon right now that can break through it. There's not a lot of teams with strong fairy coverage. The Pokemon that you would see with that would be a Magearna with Floor Cannon, but you almost don't see them running fairy coverage anymore. You usually see T-Bolt, Ice Beam, maybe Flash Cannon, sometimes a Z-move all up pummeling with the Focus Blast or Aura Sphere. The Tapus are the natural counter to this thing, but that's assuming that they're running Fairy Stab. You gotta whittle it down, and it's hard to whittle down a Pokemon that has Recover and has 100 plus defenses, so it's definitely hard to play around. For my number 4 spot, I have to go with Mega Swampert in the Rain. Put a little asterisk next to this pick. This is a Pokemon that is really only truly viable in the rain. Despite its 4 times weakness to grass, name me 5 Pokemon that run grass coverage right now. You see Tangrowth with Giga Drain, Ferrothorn runs Power Whip half the time. Of course, Tapu Bulu is there, but Mega Swampert gets Ice Punch, which when in the rain and you're faster than even Choice Scarfed grass types, which there are almost none of right now, you can hit him with the Ice Punch. You're usually going to deal around 40 to 50% damage right there on that Ice Punch. The reason I can't give Swampert a higher spot is because it has to be in the rain to be even nearly as useful as it is right now. Without rain, it's a solid UU Mega. Now, picking this number 3 spot was actually pretty hard. My number 2 and my number 3 swapped around quite a bit, but for number 3 I have to go with Mega Mawile. Though Mega Mawile might actually be better than my number 2 pick, to run this Pokemon the way that it's meant to be run, you pretty much have to run Swords Dance and Sucker Punch. Now, those 2 moves kind of put you in a position to either gain a shit ton of momentum all at once, or lose quite a lot of momentum. And from just regular no SD, no attack boost, it's kind of hard to be able to one-shot things on the other side of the field. Now, I'm not here to talk down on Mega Mawile. Mega Mawile is busted right now. It gets a good punch. It gets Thunder Punch. If this Pokemon was any faster than it is right now, if that thing got into the 300 speed instead of being like a high mid 200s, this thing would be busted. This thing would be Ubers. This thing would be Mega Metagross. But because it is slow, it is just incredibly good, but played around relatively easily unless you're a skilled player. So this Pokemon requires skill to use, but if you use it right, this is a menace. This is one of the best megas right now, hands down. Now, my number 2 pick is Mega Pinsir. Now, the only reason that I put this thing at number 2 instead of number 3 is because of the speed that it has and the quick attack possibilities that it has to beat the things that are faster than it. Now, let me explain what I mean by that right now. Mawile has Sucker Punch as its only real means of priority, and that can be played around. That's some mind games right there. Mega Pinsir, there's not a lot of things that can swap into it and then take a +2, let's say you get a SD up, not a lot of things can take a +2 return and then a +2 quick attack, with the Aerial Aid ability being amazing as it is, of course. Another thing that makes Mega Pinsir so good is that it gets Close Combat and Earthquake, so the things that can take those hits, like Return, Quick Attack, being maybe Heatran, would get demolished if you have that sort of coverage, which most Pinsirs would. The Hyper Cutter on Pinsir and the Hyper Cutter on Mawile both keep them from getting intimidated, assuming that they're non-mega versions of themselves. Now, before I get to number 1, I'm going to list off a few megas that didn't quite make it into this list that I feel like are very, very good, but have a couple limiting things. So all the fighting type megas, Medicham, Lopunny, and Gallade, are all very, very good Pokemon right now, but they're just not top tier. They're very decent. Lopunny is pretty cool. Gallade is actually better than Lopunny right now, in my opinion. That's just me, because you need the different coverage that Gallade gets to break through the common walls, like Toxapex, like Celesteela. Another Mega that I see a lot that isn't incredibly viable, in my opinion, is Mega Manectric. Okay, so finally getting to my number 1 pick, I have to say Mega Charizard Y. And if you look at the OU viability rankings, this is no surprise to you. This Mega is very, very, very good right now. But one thing I have to say, it is not a quote-unquote mindless Mega. I would consider Mega Pinsir, maybe Swampert and Rain, maybe even Sableye to consider them mindless Megas. I'd consider Mega Lopunny a mindless Mega. You kind of do the same deal. There's some very basic predictions to be made there. With Charizard Y, taking 50% basically from hazards is insane, so you really have to play around those hazards. The only flaw with Mega Charizard Y is that it's a little slow. Now, base 100 speed is not slow by any means, but what I mean by that is that its speed ties with Mega Medicham, it's outsped by Gallade, it's outsped by Mega Lopunny. Now, the only reason I'm bringing up these Pokemon is because their physical attackers in Mega Charizard Y has pretty low defense, being at base 78 defense. That's kind of pathetic, but it's okay because it has very good special defense. And the incredible combination of Drought with the Solar Beam, with Fire Blast, with a 159 special attack. It's crazy. This Mega is insanely good right now. The Sun plus Fire Blast is broken. The Focus Blast possibility for Heatran is very good. You just have to be careful of it missing. Solar Beam for the bulky waters that are already weakened by the Sun, but now catch a Solar Beam. They're gone. There's almost zero checks in the tier. You just have to be careful with a Zygarde clicking 1,000 arrows because you're not immune to it. You also have to watch out for other Pokemon that can set up the weather, like Tyranitar and Pelipper, but that's just me. And this list is just my opinion, and I probably missed a lot of things, so let me know in the comment section down below what I missed. I'll probably reply by saying, oh, I meant to say that, I had it written down, I just forgot, because I probably did. I have a whole notepad here written talking about all the Megas, all their viability rankings, all that, but I didn't get to a lot of it because I'm trying to keep this video kind of short, concise, and interesting to watch. Speaking of watching, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out other videos on the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.